Okay, so again, good morning, class. We will discuss simple bolted connections. Okay, so last meeting we discussed the design of base plate. Okay, under the design of base plate, we determined that the required area of the base plate comes from the bearing strength of your concrete or yung column pedestal. Okay. Then also the required thickness is comes from the formula of the LRFD and the formula of the ASD, and it is based on the cantilever strip method. Okay, whereas you need to find the maximum of M, the maximum of N, and the lambda N prime. And also on each cases, let's say a wide flange, HSS, and hollow pipe. Okay, there is a different cantilever strip width. Okay, so in wide flange they have 80% BF and 95% the total depth, and for the pipe we have 80% BF, 80% D. Then on the HSS we have 95%. Okay, so this time we are going to solve for the simple connections. Okay, so we have two simple connections. Number one is the bolted connections, and number two we have the welded connections. Okay, so let's see if we can discuss a bolted connections or eccentric bolted connections and eccentric welded connections. Okay, I hope we still have time to discuss those topic, eccentric and eccentric bolts and eccentric welds. Okay, so for now, we will discuss yung simple bolted connections na when the loads are full tension. Okay, so introduction to the bolted connections. So we have a Hyatt Regency walkway collapse. So it is the most destructive, most pinaka worst can you now see my screen? Hello? Hello? Kita nyo yung screen ko, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
so where are we? Okay. So the Hyatt Regency walkway collapse. Okay. So it is one of the worst structural failure history in steel connection. Okay, in the steel connection design. Okay. Because it killed 114 people and almost 185 people were injured. Okay. Worst failure because it is in terms of the loss of life. Okay, maraming namatay na tao dito sa Hyatt Regency walkway. So ano ba nangyari dito sa walkway? Okay. So it is a walkway on a two-story building. Okay. So in a three-story building. So they have a walkway on the second floor and a walkway on the third floor. Okay. So what happened in the Hyatt Regency walkway collapse? Okay. According to the investigation, the design implementation, the construction or the implementation of the design is not implemented correctly. Okay. Hindi nasunod yung plano. Okay, because as you can see in this figure on the left, they have a box beam. Okay, a box beam failed on tearing. Okay, napansin nyo, nag-tear apart yung inyong box beam. Okay, because the box beam is not designed in this manner, because in the first design, okay, in the original design, the continuity of the ball of the tension rods and the bolts should be in continuous manner. Okay, so this is the original design. Okay, in the original design, in your box beam, okay, let's say this is your box beam. Okay, the flow of the load path, okay, the load path of the tensions or the tension rod should be in continuity. Okay, dapat yung tension rod and bolts natin is continuous all throughout. Just like this one. However, in the construction, the contractor changed the initial design to discontinuity. Okay, so they have a tension rod on this point, and on the second, ito, naghiniwalay nila, they separated the continuity of the load path. Okay, so what will happen? So if we try to examine the force body diagram or of the walkway, okay, the original design, the original design should the tension rod should carry the load this 2P and P on the other side, and therefore so summation forces vertical, equals 0. The 2P, then your P at the bottom, okay. Okay, so P plus P, therefore considering this force diagram, therefore your bolts, okay, therefore your bolts carry the load P. Okay, however, in this actual construction, okay, the load on the bolts to twice, okay, yung dumoble, okay, the force carried by the bolts is doubled, because okay, they discontinue the load path. Okay, so if you will check, okay, when you apply a load P over here, then also over here P, so therefore summation force vertical, you have 2P on the bolts. Okay, that is why you have 2P on the nut on the third floor. So yung third floor na walkway, i-carry niya yung load on the second floor walkway because of this actual construction detail. Okay, the load on the second floor walkway carries the load on the fourth floor skywalk or the fourth floor walkway. So what will happen? Yung fourth floor walkway, nag-tear yung box beam. Okay? Yung fourth floor walkway, nag-tear yung box beam. Hindi kinaya ng box beam. Then, nasira din yung bolts. Okay? Nasira din yung bolts. Unang nasira yung bolts. Then, sumunod yung box beam. Then, yung buong fourth floor walkway, bumagsak dun sa second floor. Okay? Falls down on the second floor. And all the people, okay, and also dito, okay, ay naipit nung fourth floor walkway. Okay, so that is the importance of construction implementation. Okay, because you need to really check the design and the construction. So kailangan based on your design, this will be implemented on the construction. Okay, so there are different ASTM bolt types. Okay, So we have the A307, the A325, and the A490. The A307 is the low carbon steel not commonly used and only used for secondary members. For the A325, it is a high strength medium carbon steel, and it is most common used in the building construction. The A490 are the high strength heat treated steel, and it costs more than A325 but are stronger, so fewer bolts may be necessary. So note that the ASTM designation is indicated on the head of the bolts. Okay, so if you try to check the structural bolts or the ASTM bolt types, okay, you have a bolt type on the head of the bolts or on the nuts. Okay, that is yung ASTM designation. Okay. Also, for the ASTM bolt type, we have the A307 machine bolts with an FT of 45 KSI, or FT means the tensile capacity of your A307 machine bolts. Okay. So when you look at the AISC 15th edition, the bolt types are classified into Group A and Group B. Okay. In Group A, which is the high strength bolts, okay, the tensile capacity is 90 KSI. Okay. And for Group B, it is a high strength bolt also with a tensile capacity of 113 KSI. So what are the ASTM bolt type under Group A? So the ASTM bolt type under Group A are the ASTM A325, the ASTM A325M, F1852, A354 grade BC, and the A449 steel. And the ASTM bolt type under Group P are the ASTM A490, the A490M, the F2280, and the A354 grade BD. Okay. Again, the FT is the tensile strength from the AISC table. You can check the table J3.2. Okay. And take note that F1852 and F2280 are tension control bolts or twist-off bolts, which are require a special tightening tool. Okay. Then also, we have a round head or the button head bolts that are most common domestically produced. Okay. The TC bolts. Okay. Meron tayong mga round head bolts. Yan, ito. Round head. Okay. This time, ito kasi is yung typical na bolt type. Okay, this one. Then also we have yung round head. It's like this structural bolts. Okay, so we have a round head and a hex head. Okay, the round head are the F1852 and the F2280. Okay, so if we compare the F1852 to the ASTM bolt type, okay, this one, ang katumbas nung F1852 is the ASTM A325. Okay, it is its bolt equivalent. And for the F2280, we have the ASTM A490 bolt equivalent. Okay, so let us check the anatomy of a bolt assembly. Okay, so we have a bolt assembly. Okay, so this portion is what we call the head. Okay, so ito yung nakikita nyo sa surface. Okay, this is the one that you will see on the surface of your structural connections, structural steel connections, the heads. Okay, we also have the total length. Okay, this is your total length of the bolts. So if the structural plans indicates the length of the bolt, okay, it means the length is at the bottom of the head up to the tip of your bolt assembly. Okay, then also between the length, okay, between the length, We have the non-threaded parts, which is this one, and we have a threaded parts. Okay? Yun yung threaded parts na yan. Also, if you tighten the nut, okay, if you tighten the nut, okay, of your bolt assembly, okay, this is the total grip distance. Okay, so for example, you tighten at this portion, okay, or for example, you have a what you call this, you have a timber, okay, or a wooden structure, and you need to tighten the nut, okay, you need to create the bolts. So what you have to do is you need to tighten the nuts, and yung distance of your tighten nuts is the grip. Okay, yan yung grip distance. Siya yung distance na mag-hold dun sa grip distance na mag-hold dun sa bolt assembly nyo. Yung grip distance na tinatawag. Okay. Then also we have the washer face. It is the face of your washer. Okay, so if you all know what is the washer, we have your like a spacer that will distribute the clamping force of the nut effectively and in uniform. Okay, that is the purpose of the washer. Okay, this is the example of washer, and you have a nut inside. Okay, that is this one. Okay, and also you have the nut. Okay, yung nut is the one you are tightening by means of by pretensioning material or by wrench. Okay, so that is the anatomy of your bolt assembly. Okay, so what are the standard dimensions for the ASTM bolts? Okay, so in this table, check the ASC manual, table 7-14. Okay, and the in the ASC manual, okay, the dimension of the high strength fasteners are in inches. Okay, okay, it has a notation F, which is the width across the flats. We have the notation D, which is the head diameter. We have the notation H. Okay, the notation H is basically the thickness of your bolts, okay, the thickness of your heads, okay, the thickness of your head bolts. And thread length is the total length of a threaded part. Okay. Also, we have the bolt length, which is the grip distance plus the washer plus the thickness, or basically the length of your bolts. Okay, so in this table, we have the standard dimensions for the ASTM bolts. Depends on the ASTM bolt type and that nominal bolt diameter. Okay, so let's say for example, we have a bolt diameter of you have a bolt diameter of 1/2. Okay, you have a bolt diameter of 1/2. So when you check the standard dimensions of 1/2 ASTM bolts, depends on the ASTM type. So let's say we have ASTM A325 1/2 inches. So if you check the standard dimension of that ASTM bolt, we have 7/8 width across the flats, a head diameter of 1 1/8. Okay. Okay, the height of 5/16. Okay, and a thread length of 1 inches, a spline length of 1/2, and a bolt length of 11/16 inches. Okay, so this is the head diameter. As you can see, the head diameter is always greater than the bolt diameter. Okay, this is your bolt diameter. Okay, this is your bolt diameter. And this is your head diameter. Okay. So we have categories based on the performance of your bolts. Okay, we have a bearing type connection and we have the slip critical type connection. So what are those? The bearing type connections are the connection of a simple bolted connections which the load is transferred by the bearing force on the bolts. Okay, and the slip critical type of connection is the load. The load is transferred by the friction in the joint. Okay? So ito yung slip critical and ito yung bearing type connection. So basically yung bearing type connection, okay? The bearing type connection meaning you are allowing your bolt to slip. Okay, yan yung bearing type. And the slip critical type of connection is you will not allow your bolt to slip. Okay, so ano yung mga yan? Okay, let's say you have a slatted holes. Okay, you have a slatted holes. Okay, and on your slatted holes you have a bolt. Okay, you have a bolt. This is your bolt. So if you have a bearing type connection, for example, you have a bearing type connection, you are allowing your, based on your assumption, okay, based on your assumption, you are allowing your bolt to bear the force on the edge of the holes or this, yung dito sa may slatted holes. No? You are allowing na mag-slip siya. So meaning, pwede daw siyang mag-slip on this side, okay? Mag-move ng a certain distance. So this is exaggerated, but you will allow a bearing force. Okay, you will allow the bearing force. Okay, so your connection designed to resist that bearing force. However, for the slip critical type connection, you are not allowing your bolt to create a bearing interaction or bearing stresses at the holes. Okay, so by the word itself, it is critical to slip. Okay, so meaning this is also an exaggerated figure. Okay, meaning your hole should not slip. Okay, should not slip. Therefore, you need a pretension force, a high pretension force. Your pretensioning force, you need a special tool for pretensioning force. Okay, so when you have slip critical type of connections, the wrench are not applicable in tightening your bolts. Okay, you need a special tightening tool and you need to check the pretension force. And that pretension force will cause a clamping force. Okay, that will cause a clamping force in the bolt type. And the frictional force, okay, so basically the frictional force is the frictional coefficient multiplied by the normal force. So basically yung normal force is the clamping force multiplied by the friction. That is your frictional force. And that frictional force should be greater than or equal to those to the actual load condition T. Okay, so that is why the load transfer is by the friction in the joint. So this is very critical. You will not allow your bolt to slip. Okay, so what is the when we compare the bearing and the slip critical joint, so which one is better, which one is mostly used? Okay, so connections made with high strength bolts may be a slip critical material joint being clamped together by the tension or by the bearing type, which is a material joint by restricted from moving primarily by the bolt shank. Okay, that is the bearing type. Okay, the slip critical type of connection is the most expensive because it requires the faying surface be free of the paint. Some exceptions are permitted, grease and oil. Okay, so anong ibig sabihin nito? Okay, yung slip critical daw is most expensive because you need to i-recheck yung faying surface. Okay, yung ilalim ng inyong bolt type, yung connection, which is this one and this one. You need to recheck this one because it should be free from the paint, except the red oxide paint, the grease and the oil, because it will cause unnecessary frictional coefficient. Okay, bababa yung frictional force in your clamping, in your slip critical connection type. So hence, this type of connection should be used only where required by the governing design specification, where it is, for example, where it is desirable to have a bolt slip into the bearing of, or where the stress reversal could slippage. And the slip critical connections, however, have the advantage in the building construction that when used in the combination of welds, okay, the fasteners and welds may be considered to share the stresses. Okay, since the slip critical connection is, you need a special tool, you need a pre-tensioning force, and kailangan controlled yung environment. So slip critical connections has the advantage in the building construction. Okay, so let us understand what are the bolt forces. So the bolt forces, because of the nature of the structural boards, we generate three forces in a bolt assembly. Okay, the three forces are the shear in the bolts, the bearing between the bolt and the plate, and the friction between the faying surface of the connection element. Okay, the shear in the bolt is yung shear mismo dito sa bolts. Yan, yung shear. The bearing between the bolt and the plate is yung nandito. Okay, in this one. And the friction between the faying surface and the connected element is this one. Okay, so let us consider all those bolt forces. Okay, so consider natin yung bolt forces. So, for example, we have a tension force. Okay, we have a tension force in our bolts. Okay, that tension force comes from the actual load conditions. Okay, so it is your bolt assembly. So we have a bolt and we have the connecting element. Okay, this is your connecting element, let's say. Okay, so when you have a tension force applied on the bolts, okay, therefore by reaction forces, you have a clamping force, di ba? That clamping force is this yellow arrow. That is your clamping force in your bolt assemblies. Okay. So by summation forces vertical, the tension force should be equal to your clamping force. Okay. Then after applying, okay, let's say for example, you have a tension force on the member. So if you recall, let's say in our prelims, say we have a tension, this type of connection. Okay, then you apply a tension force T. Okay, a tension force T. So if you want to check the capacity of your bolt, you want to design the bolts under an actually loaded tension members. Okay, so let's say for example, this is your tension members. Tension force on the member, tension force on the member. Okay, so that is the tension force at the member. So therefore, again, by summation forces along the horizontal or by equilibrium forces, so the reaction force are the frictional force, this one. So you have a frictional force between the faying surface of the connected element, which is this blue line, a blue arrow. So let's say, for example, we consider the bottom part of our connection type. So you have a tension force on the left, you have a frictional force on the right. So the same on the upper part. So when you have a tension force on the right, you have a friction force on the left. Okay, and that friction force is mu times N. Okay, right? So that is your friction force. Then we have the shear within the bolt. Okay, so since you have a frictional force, and that frictional force will pass through the bolt within the bolt. Okay, that frictional force will pass through. That stresses will pass through the bolts. Okay, therefore, you have a shear within your bolts. Okay, you have a shear within your bolts. So this one. So this is your bolt. You have a shear within your bolts. Okay, you have a shear right below your bolts within your bolts. Okay, so that is your shear force. Then, for the bearing between the bolt and the plate, so since now you have a shear force, okay, you now have your shear force within the bolt, and that shear force will cause a lateral movement on the bolt, okay, a small lateral movement on the bolt. So therefore, you have a bearing, okay, you have a bearing stresses, okay, you have a bearing stresses right between the bolt and your connecting plate. Okay, so just like this figure. So this is your bearing in the force, and this is your bearing in the force. Okay, so so if you check your holes, okay, this one is your hole. Your bearing is yung stresses dito. Okay, acting on this side. Okay, so okay, so for example, okay, you have your holes. Okay. Okay, this is, for example, this is your holes. Okay, yan. So you have now your the shear force and the shear force within your bolts. So therefore, there is a bearing stresses. Okay, bearing stresses, bearing stresses. Okay, between the bolt and your connecting plate. Okay, so that is the bearing between the bearing force. Okay, so under the bearing type connections, okay, so bearing type connection is basically the most simplest connection type of bolted connections connection type that is easy to design, which is yung bearing type connections. So bearing type connection meaning you are not considering the bearing forces on the bolts, right? You're considering the bearing forces on the bolts. So bearing forces between the bolts and your bearing plate or on your connecting plate. Okay. So if you want to design a bearing type connection, number one, you need to check the tensile strength of your bolts of the threaded parts. So it is just it is the same on what we are designing on the first part of our on the prelim on the first part of our tension members. Okay, in the tension members designing, I already introduced the tensile strength of the bolts of the threaded parts. Okay, so if you go back to the table J3.2, okay, if you go back to the table J3.2, and you have a nominal stress of description of fasteners and the nominal stress on shear. So ito yung nominal stress on tension, and this is the nominal stress on compression. So this is nominal, and since this is nominal, you will multiply it to a factor phi and divide it by safety factor omega in LRFP and AST respectively. Okay, and take note again, class, that group A are the ASTM A325, F1852, A352, and this, and the group B is this one. Okay, so basically Rn is equals to Fn times the area of your bolts. And also the table 7-2 of the NSCP, the AISC has a available tensile strength of bolts based on the designation. So a group A, you already have a tensile capacity, depends on the diameter of the bolts. Okay, and the same with this one. So group A, group B, group C, and A307. So in table 7-2, they also introduces group C, which includes the ASTM F3043 and the ASTM F3111. Okay, And number 2 limit state of the bearing type connections are the shear strength of the threaded bolts. Okay? So meron na tayong tension, di ba? Na-solve na natin yung tension and solve na rin natin yung shear force. Okay? So basically, the shear force is the shear strength of the bolted and threaded parts. So again, check the J3.2. Okay? Check the J3.2, and this includes the nominal shear stress of different description of fasteners. Okay, so basically that has a formula of M times FNB, which is this table, and the area of your bar, your bolt, area of your bolt. So what is this M? Your M is the, basically you know this one eh. Your FNB, you know that one, ABS, you know that one. So ang hindi mo lang alam is yung M. Yung M is the number of shear planes. M is the number of shear planes. So what are the number of shear planes? So how to determine that number of shear planes? So shear strength of bolts under threaded parts, to count for the number of shear planes, you need to check if that is a single shear or a double shear. So ito lang naman yung commonly type of your bearing connection. So a single shear meaning you only have a single shear planes, which is this one, right? Yung nasa gitna lang. Ito lang yung magkakos ng shearing. In Tagalog, sila lang yung magkikiskisan when you apply a tensile force, right? Sila lang yung magkakos ng shear. At that plane will only cause shear. Then, we also have a double shear. So for example, you have this type of connections. You have three. You have a three plate. So how many shear planes? Number 1 and number 2. Okay? So in Tagalog, meron kang dalawang plane na magkikiskisan when you apply a tension load T. Okay? Yan yung shear plane. So if you check the free body diagram, okay, your tensile, your shear force is the same with P when you're a single shear. And for a double shear, you will divide that load P into halves. So that is why you have P over 2, P over 2 on the other side. And meaning that double shear will divide your shearing resistance into half. Okay, so that is your double shear. So single shear, M is equals to 1, and for double shear, your M is equals to 2. Okay. So again, if you check the table 7-1, the AISC also solves that values of the shear capacity depends on the designation, depends on the thread condition, and depends on the bolt diameter. So no need to solve if you're using a simple bearing type connections and you want to check the shear capacity. So under group A, so let's try to check. So let's say your designation, STM designation is under group A with threaded conditions, meaning you have a threaded part. So N means you have threaded in the shear plane. So meaning in the shear plane, umabot dun yung thread. Okay, na-gets nyo ba class? Umabot dun yung thread sa shear plane. So, for example, ito yung shear plane natin. Okay, this is your shear plane. Okay, ito yung shear plane natin, di ba? So, meaning, yung bolt natin, umabot doon yung threaded. So, umabot dito yung thread. So, let's say, for example, nandyan yung thread. So your threaded part is within that shear plane. Okay, so it is also indicated in this table. So N is the condition where your threads included in the shear plane. And X indicates that it is excluded in the shear plane. Okay, so kung mapapansin nyo class, when you have a threaded part, your capacity decreases compared to the condition where you have excluded your threads in the shear plane, because when you have threaded parts, okay, the area of your bolt is decreases, so that is why you have a lesser capacity. But a small amount, okay? Mga ilan ba to? 5 KSI, 8 KSI, so medyo malaki rin pala. 8 KSI, this one is 10 KSI. So medyo malaki rin. Okay, so that is the available shear strength of the bolts and kips. Okay, so okay, the S means a single shear and D means a double shear. So ito yung loading planes nyo, yung S for single, D for double shear. Okay, so that is how you will use this table 7-1. Okay, and lastly, we have a bolt bearing limit states. Okay, so if you not check the bolt bearing limit state, just like this one, okay, so you have a bolt tear out and hole ovalization. So lumaki yung inyong hole. So just like what happened in the Hyatt collapse. Okay, so yung box girders niya is tear out because of the bolt bearing failure in the connection. Okay, so again, this is your bearing force. Take note of this one. This is your bearing force. So basically, that bearing force, bearing area is the thickness, the diameter of your hole, okay, multiplied by the thickness T, right? That is your bearing area, this one. Okay, so under the AISC design, in addition, we need to discuss how plate itself can fail. Number one, by means of tearing out, and number two, by means of hole ovalization. Okay, so under bolt bearing, you also have two consideration or two fashions you need to check. Number one is yung bolt tear out, and number two is the hole ovalization. So just like attention members, okay, just like attention members, the bolt tear out is the fracture or the tearing capacity of your connections, and the bolt hole ovalization is similar to yielding. Okay, so yung bolt tear out is the same to fracture and block shear, and the hole ovalization is the same to yielding. Okay, so for the bolt bearing type, for the bearing, when the deformation on the bolt hole at service load is design consideration. Okay, so when a deformation is considered, okay, when a deformation is considered, your Rn, your nominal capacity Rn is equals to 2.4 D times the thickness times Fu. Okay, so diameter of the hole times the thickness times Fu. Okay, in LRFD, your phi factor is 0.75, and in ASD, your omega factor is 2.0. So when deformation at the bolt service load is not considered, your formula is 3 dt times Fu. Okay. So under the tearing out failure, okay, so ito yung bearing failure, ito yung tearing out failure. Okay. So under tearing out, okay, ito yung this one is just like the hole ovalization. Okay, so this one is for the hole ovalization. And this one is based on the tear out of the bolt. Okay. So under the second fashion of a bolt bearing failure, so when the deformation again is considered, okay, your Rn is equals to 1.2 times the clear distance LC times the thickness of the connected part T. Sorry, it is not, okay, tama. The thickness of the connected part T, and the Fu is the ultimate tensile stress of the connected part. Okay, take note again. Your T is for the connected part. Your Fu is for the connected part and not for the bolt, because in tearing, you are considering the tearing of the plate or yung connected part. just like this one. That is why in T, you have the thickness of the connected part, and Fu is the tensile stress of the connected part, not the bolt. Okay, so how to determine that LC? Yung LC is the distance or the clear distance in the direction parallel to the applied load from the edge of the bolt hole to the edge of the adjacent hole or to the edge of the material. Okay, so let's discuss this one. Okay, before we find the LC, L sub C, we need to find the we need to determine the bolt layout requirements, yung mga definitions. We have the S, which is the spacing. LC is the clear distance. LE is the edge distance. Okay? So yung LC guys, ito yung hinahanap natin, yung LC. Yung LC pala, siya daw yung clear distance in the direction parallel. Okay? So clear distance, direction parallel to the applied load. Okay? So parallel to the applied load. Okay. So just like this one, kung meron kang LC, ito LC. So parallel to the applied load. So for example, you have an actual load dito, T, tensile load T. So this is parallel, right? So parallel meaning you have your LC1, you have your LC2. So in our example, you have this type. Okay, sabi niya yung LC is the clear distance from the edge of the bolt hole to the edge of the adjacent hole or to the edge of the material. So kung ganito, ito siya. Ito yung L sub C. This is parallel to their direction T, and that is clear distance from the edge to the hole, or pwede daw siyang to the from hole to hole. Okay, pwede rin daw yung hole to hole. Okay. So yung LE, so bago natin malaman yan, kailangan mo muna malaman yung LE and yung S. Yung LE is the edge distance measured from the center of the hole, and the S is the spacing center to center of the hole. Okay. So yeah, let's try. Okay. So there are two types of layout, the bolt spacing requirements and the edge distance requirements. Okay, so merong requirements na you need to check when you design your bolt. So kapag magle-layout kayo ng butas, so merong mga requirements dyan, hindi lang basta-basta magbubutas ng connection. So for the bolt spacing requirements, the minimum spacing is the distance between the center of the standard oversized or the slatted hole shall not be less than 2 2/3 times the nominal diameter D. Okay? But the NSCP recommends or referred to use 3 times dB. Why? Because 2 2/3 is meron pa siyang 2 2/3 dB is meron siyang hindi siya exact value. So that is why they use 3 dB. So round up na lang siya na 3 dB because let's say for example, meron kang 1 inches. So kapag may 1 inch, 1 inch ka, 1 inch yung bolt mo. So 1 inch times 2 2/3, so basically that is 2.67 inches. And that 2.67 inches in the site is difficult to measure. That exact 2.67 inches. So that is why they round it up to 3 dB. So for example, you have 1 inch times 3, you basically that is 3 inches. And that 3 inches is easy to lay out in the construction. Okay, so that is your minimum spacing. And for the maximum spacing, it is the minimum of 14 times the thickness and 7 inches. So that is your bolt spacing requirements. Then for the minimum edge distance requirements, you check in the table J3.4, the minimum edge distance requirements based on the bolt diameter is listed below. And for the maximum edge distance is basically the minimum of 12T and the 6 inches. Okay, so that is how to find the edge distance requirement. So in summary of the bolt bearing capacity, bolt bearing checking, is basically compare the minimum of the 1.2 LCTFU and the 2.4 DTFU when the deformation of the bolt hole is considered. So sasabihin naman yan if using yung consider niyo yung deformation. And when the deformation of the bolt hole is not considered, this is your RN. So minimum neto and minimum of this one. And your phi is 0.75 and LRFT and your omega is 2.0 and AST. Okay, whereas your LE, again, are the edge distance center to center of the hole. LC is the clear distance from the edge of the bolt hole to the edge of the adjacent hole, or pedaling hole to hole, edge distance of material, or hole to hole distances. And T is the thickness of the connected part. And FU, take note again that it is the ultimate tensile strength of the connected part and not the bolt. And D is the diameter of the bolt. So for computation references books, sometimes they use, there are different cases eh. So in other books, that D uses diameter of the bolt. And in other books, that D uses diameter of the hole. So it depends on the designer or which book you need to check. But for me, the best, the right thing to design is using diameter of the hole, which is this one. Okay. For me, that is the right yung tama. Then take note of this one. Ang ginamit nilang ang ginamit lang nila na increase to diameter of the bolt to hole is only 1/16 inches. Okay, so they did not consider the incurring due to the construction, yung incurring hole of due to the construction. Okay, so let us try to solve for example problem 1. So we still have time. Yan. So example problem 1. Let us check the bolt spacing, check the edge distances, and check the bearing of the connection shown in this figure. So it is a plate 5 by 1/2, okay, with 4 holes. The dead load are 15 kips, the live load are 45 kips using A36 steel. And the diameter of the bolts is 3/4 inches. So as you can see, meron tayong layout indicated in this figure. And take note that we will use consider deformation of the bolt hole. Okay, so let us check first the bolt spacing. So from the AISC J3.3, the minimum spacing in any direction is 2 2/3 T. Okay, so 2.667 times 3 ports, that is 2.0 inches. So if we check the actual spacing, so diba, spacing is the spacing center to center of the bolts parallel to the loading direction. So ito yung loading direction mo. Ang spacing natin dyan is ito. Okay. So that is equivalent to 2.5 inches. Okay. So that is, therefore, your actual spacing is greater than your minimum spacing. Therefore, that is okay. Okay. And if you want to check the maximum spacing, okay, the maximum spacing is minimum 14 T or minimum 7 inches. So 14 T and 7 inches. So pasok pa rin yung ating plate, ating connection type. Okay. So 14 T is equals to 14 times 1/2. That is 7 inches. And minimum, and yung 7 inches, okay? Therefore, yung S max natin is 7 inches. So pasok pa rin siya, okay? So less than pa rin siya sa S max na 7 inches. Okay? So that is how you solve for the S max. Next, check natin yung the edge distances. Okay, so according to the edge distances, which is denotes as L sub E. Okay, yung L sub E. L sub E is the center to center distance, okay, yung L sub E, okay, tingnan natin yung figure. Okay, yung L sub E is the center to center distance measured from the center of the measured from the center of the hole to the edge of your connection, which which is perpendicular to the loading direction. Okay, so just like parang gauge distance. Ito yung gauge distance. Hindi, sorry, hindi siya gauge distance kasi dapat pa-edge talaga siya. So gauge distance kasi parang, di ba, perpendicular siya on the sides. So parang ganito rin yung edge distance. Perpendicular din siya sa loading direction. Okay. Your L sub E is edge distances. So if we check the minimum edge distances and the maximum edge distances using the table J3.4, so for 3/4 inches, you have a minimum edge distance of 1. And for maximum edge distances, you have a minimum of 12 and 6 inches. So let us check this one. So for the edge distances, your actual edge distance are 1 1/4, 1 1/4. Ito pang isa, 1 1/4. Okay. Mga edge distances. Ito yung LE1, LE2. Ito yung isang LE3. Okay. So they are all greater than the minimum edge distance of 1 inch. Okay, therefore that is okay. So i-check pa rin natin yung maximum, that is 12 times T and 6 inches, that is still less than the maximum. Okay, and now we need to solve for the deformation at the bolt hole. Okay, consider natin deformation at the bolt hole and determine the nominal the required bearing force. Okay. So there are basically we need 4 approach. Kailangan natin ng 4 we need to consider 4 cases. Okay. So bakit kailangan natin ng 4 cases? Since the gusset plate and the tension member have different thickness and we have 2 different length LC. Okay? So tingnan natin. Ano ba yung LC? Di ba yung LC is center to center distance from bolt to bolts or from bolt to hole. Okay, tama? From bolt to bolt and from bolt to hole. So ito yung LC, di ba? Yung LC natin is the clear distances. Okay, sorry, it should be clear distances. Nalilito ako dun sa center to center. Okay, so we need to find the clear distances. Okay, so what are the 2 clear distances? Ito yung isa, this one. This is your first clear distance. This is your second clear distance. Okay, so yan yung clear distances. Just like this one. Kung if you can see yung ito. Okay, this one. This is your clear distances. So the same to the problem, we have 2 different clear distances. Okay, this one and this one. Okay, so they are different lengths. Okay, and also if you check the formula, okay, using consideration of bolt hole, you have this formula, right? Okay. Okay, so that is your formula and you need to check. Okay, you have 2 different thicknesses. What are those? You have 2 different thicknesses. Number 1 is considering the 5 by 1/2 thickness. And number 2 is considering that gusset plate, the 3/8 inches gusset plate. So basically, if we check this section, ito yung section natin. This is your gusset plate. And this is your 5 by 1/2. Okay. So this is your 5 by 1/2 and this is your 3/8 inches PL. And between that, let's say you have a bolt. Between that, okay, you have a connecting bolt. And also this one. So if you want to check the bearing forces in this orientation, in this bolt type, you have two thicknesses. You have two bearing areas. Number one is the bearing area on this. Okay. And number two is the bearing area on this one. Okay. So basically, meron tayong 4 cases. Okay. And that 4 cases is LC1, LC2, and yung isa bearing area 1 and bearing area 2. Okay. Okay, so kung meron kayong 2x2, so the total combinations are 4, right? So you have 2 different LC, 2 different thickness. So that total combinations are 4. So 2x2, that is 4. So okay, so the holes. Let us define what are those 4 cases. First case is the holes at the left edge connecting the 5 1/2 steel plate. So left edge meaning this distance over here, left edge, which is equivalent to 1 1/4 minus the whole the bolt diameter over 2. This one, that is your LC2. Okay, this is for LC2, this is for LC2, and considering the 5 1/2 thickness. Okay, next naman is LC1. Okay, this is your LC1, this is your LC1, and considering the 3/8 inches. Okay. Okay. So that is how you check the cases. So kailangan mo siyang i-check isa-isa. Okay. So let us first try yung first case. Okay, so the holes at the left edge connecting to the 5 1/2 steel plate from the tension member. So let us first solve the L sub C. So the L sub C is basically 1.25 minus the whole diameter. So some books uses this one. So D plus 1 over 16. So your D is 3/4 plus 1 over 16, that is 13 over 16. Okay. So therefore, your LC sub 1, itong distance na to is equals to 1.25 minus the 13 over 16 divided by 2, which is equivalent to 0.8438 inches. Okay, now using this formula, the 1.2 LCF T times FU should be less than or equal to 2.4 DTFU. Okay, so first check the 1.2 LC TFU. So 1.2 times LC, then what is your thickness? Thickness of the connecting part. We're considering 1/2, that is 1/2. Your FU is 58 KSI. If you go back, your FU is the FU of the connecting plate, not the bolt. So what is our FU? Okay, our FU is not stated in the problem. Okay, so the FU of this figure, PL 5 1/2 is 58 KSI. Okay, so therefore you have the 29.36 kips. And checking the upper limit, which is the 2.4 DTFU, 2.4 times 3/4 times 1/2. Your D is the diameter of the bolts, and the T is the thickness of the connecting part. So therefore, that is 52.2 kips. Okay, so comparing and check the minimum. Yes, therefore you will use 29.36 kips per bolt. So we are just considering one bolt, right? So that is 29.36 kips per bolt. Okay, number 2, the second case. The holes at the right edge, this one, or this one, considering the 5 1/2 steel plate pa rin. Okay, so for other holes, you can check your LC, that is S minus H. So this time your 2.5 minus the H over 2 on the other side. Therefore, that is the total H. And your LC is 1.688. Then solve again the RN. So 1.2 LCTFU. Your FU is 58 KSI. Therefore, you have 58.74 kips. And the upper limit 2.4 DTFU, which is 52.2 kips. So therefore, choosing the minimum is, therefore, that is 52.2 kips per volt. Okay, using the minimum. So therefore, the bearing strength for the tension member is, okay, the bearing strength of the tension member considering the 5 by 1/2 steel plate is, ilan ba yung 29.36? Ilan ba sila? Ito ay dalawa sila. And this one is dalawa rin sila. So ito, your 29.36 is the capacity on the left. This is your 29.36 kips per volt. And this one is 52.2 kips per volt. Okay, so therefore your total RN considering the 5 by 1/2 plate is 163.1 kips. So now considering the 3/8 gasket plate, the 3/8 gasket plate. Okay, so the 3/8 gasket plate is the same on what we do. Find the LC. Okay, find the LC. Find the RN. Okay, so this time, okay, so this time that is LC is equals to LE minus H over 2. That is 0.848. Your RN is 22.02 kips. The only thing that changes is the thickness T, and your FU is also should be based on the thickness of the connecting plate, or the thickness of the FU of your 3/8 plate. Okay, so checking the upper limit, again, it will arrive to 22.02 kips per volt on the left side, and the holes at the right edge connecting the 3/8 inches gasket plate is the same on what we did earlier. The only thing changes is the T, the thickness of the plate, which is 3/8 this time, and therefore you have 39.15 kips. Now considering this this case, when you are considering 3/8 inches, so 22.02 kips per volt on the left side and 39.15 kips per volt on the right side. Therefore, you have 122.3 kips. Okay, so comparing the controlling RN, or nominal bearing strength. So compare this considering 3/8 inches or the gasket plate versus the main plate, which is 163.1 kips. Therefore, the governing the gasket plate controls and the governing bearing nominal bearing capacity of the connection is 123.3 kips. So it is the minimum of the base tension main member and the gasket plate. Okay, and checking the design strength in LRFD 0.75, which is 191.7, and the required strength is 1.2 dead load, 1.6 live load. Therefore, that is okay. And for the allowable strength design, your nominal divide it to 2.0. Therefore, you have your 61.2 kips capacity, and checking the demand, dead load plus live load, you have 60 kips. That is okay. So therefore, the bearing strength, the spacing, and the edge distances requirements are satisfied in this problem. Okay, so the question is, do we need to check all those cases one by one? The answer is yes. Okay, but there is a technique. So which one is most likely to govern? Okay, you just need to check the thickness of the both connecting plate. Okay, So to check those, let's say still have the same material properties. Okay. So when you compare 3/8 inches by 1/2, so it is obviously that 3/8 inches is smaller than 1/2 inches. So therefore, the governing thickness is the 3/8 inches. So you always consider the smallest thickness. Okay, this is only applicable if you have all of the other factors are the same except for the thickness of the plates. Okay, so do you have questions, class, regarding the simple bolted connections? Hello? Diyan pa ba kayo, class? Hello?
Hello, boss.
Okay. Do you have questions regarding the simple bolted connections topic? Is there any parang um, hard to understand in this topic? Okay. If none, maybe we can end this meeting. Okay, so for the reference, just check the STEL design by Segi and solve example problems in that reference. Okay, so it will help you understand more about this topic. Okay, so in summary, we need to check we need to check the shear, we need to check the tension, we need to check the bolt bearing capacity. And under the bolt bearing capacity, you need to check the hole ovalization and the fracture. And you have two formulas, which is 1.2 LC DTFU and the 2.4 DTFU. And yung isa is the 1.5 and 3.0 LCTFU and DTFU. Okay. And also, when you have connections with different thicknesses, you need to consider whole cases. Okay. Just check the LC distances and the thickness, also the FU, if the material properties, if they have different material properties. What are the parameters? LC, T, then FU. Okay, that is this one. This is the parameters, the LC, the T, and the FU. Take note that your FU should be the FU of the connected the connecting part, not the bolt, and the T is the thickness of the connecting part, and your D is the diameter of the bolt. Okay, to find LC, use the hole, and in this topic, the whole is basically dB plus 1/16 inches. Okay. Okay, so that's it. And thank you guys for listening.